Hey, I'm Brandy Shantz, and welcome to Living Chronic. I'm excited that we're starting with season two right now. Season one was so helpful for me in so many ways. I learned so much over that year, and I've grown in many ways as well. And I can truly thank so many of my guests that I had on the podcast last year. I learned about ahimsa. I learned about taking care of yourself. I learned about, uh, you know, pain being in the mind sometimes and learning how to deal with things in my head and deal with my past trauma so that I could better heal myself today. So I'm excited to start season two. This season, I would like to focus a little bit more on my time as a U.S. Army officer, a veteran, and my exposure to burn pits. So please expect a lot of focus on veterans care, burn pits. I have learned a lot in the past year, and I think that I have a lot to offer and advocate for. There's so many of us out there. I get great messages every day, and please keep them coming. I want to learn more, hear more stories, find out how you're doing, how are you living? How has this affected your life, your family? How can we do better? How can we advocate for ourselves in a better way? So I'm excited to really bring forward a lot of new veteran stories, advice, and just good practice. I've also, over the last year, learned that my VA healthcare is quite good, which I wasn't expecting. So, over this past year, I've started individual therapy through the VA. I've also switched over almost all of my healthcare to the Veterans Affairs medical system. It's really great. My medications show up at my door for free. Thank you for sending those, Doc. Thank you, VA. And of course, they got me into therapy, which was very difficult. I had such a difficult time finding anybody who would take my TRICARE healthcare or just had availability at all. So that has been a really, really great benefit to me. And hopefully, if you qualify, please go and get your VA healthcare. I know we had a bad reputation for a while. Nobody wanted VA healthcare. And that's why I was so hesitant to start. But it really has been far better than anything I've received anywhere else. You qualify for VA healthcare if one, you have a disability related to your time in service. If your service connected disability is less than 50%, you're eligible for care for that disability at the VA. If you're rated for service connected disabilities at a 50% rate or higher, you are qualified to receive all of your health care at the VA. And that's the service that I'm using. It's quite good. I have a neurologist there. I have a primary care doctor that I absolutely love. I have so many great people that I can reach out to. I just had somebody who spent his entire day doing nothing but just finding me an available ultrasound appointment in the community. Because, yes, if there are no appointments available at the VA, you can get an appointment out in the community. And prior to switching all of my healthcare over to the VA, I had to do that by myself. I think we all know that's a full time job. I would wake up in the morning, get on that phone, start looking for appointments, get on waiting lists. It was exhausting. So having that benefit, just having somebody to make those phone calls for me has been amazing. So, having benefited so much from the VA and how well they've been doing, I really want to share more about that this season and really dig into what are our benefits as veterans? What are we learning about these burn pits and how they've affected us? Is there any new information out there? What can we do to better advocate for ourselves? So look forward to a lot of really great content focused on veterans. I also have a lot of really great guests coming up focused on just advocating for yourself. I started that last year, and I think a lot of last year was really about me healing and coming into focus on what I wanted to do with my life next and how I was going to cope with all of these things that had happened to me and will be permanent for me for the rest of my life. This particular season, I really want to focus a lot on advocating for yourself, learning how to stand up and say, no, I need this test, or no, I want a second opinion, because I think that's so important. And I've learned a lot along the way. I learned the hard way. Sometimes that's how we do it. But I really want to focus in on that just a little bit more. There's going to be a few more episodes focused on just us chatting about life, living chronic. What is it like? What are we dealing with? One of the things I found most beneficial is my friend with Crohn's disease as well. So often I think I'm crazy. I'm laying on the couch. I'm still sick. My husband got over whatever illness we picked up 24 hours later, of course. Then here I am, 2 weeks later, still feeling terrible, bronchitis setting in. And sometimes I just think, oh my goodness, am I crazy? Is this something I'm doing? Am I being weak? And just being able to text my friend and say, hey, am I crazy? And then hear her say, no, I'm still sick also. It's that little bitty thing that really makes a difference and helps us to understand that we're not crazy. Sure, we all know we're not really crazy, but it feels that way sometimes. So just having that validation is important. So there's going to be a lot of just, hey guys, this is what we're living with and how are we going to cope with it better. The other thing I really want to focus more on is the FDA. I know that if the FDA had a better system for reporting adverse reactions, a better system for communications, sending out reports to doctors, I would have never gone through what I did for 19 months. That is very important to me, to continue advocating for change at the FDA, because there's no reason that a prescribing doctor should not be able to identify any reaction that might be coming, and quickly. Unfortunately, that just didn't happen for me. So I think we'll have a lot of really great content this season. I'm really looking forward to publishing some of the great interviews I've already recorded. And I'm looking forward to hearing more from you and really trying to address what's most important to those of us living chronic, those of us who are caring for friends, family, loved ones who are living chronic. And you know what? Just everybody that we come across in our day. I also wanted to point out something I've learned, and here I am. I'm in my 40s. I didn't learn this until more recently, but I learned it last year. And I want to focus more this season also on taking care of yourself. I used to think I was taking care of myself, but I really wasn't. I never slow down. I never stop. I never take a moment to just be sad or angry. Even when I started the podcast, I was, how do I deal with everything that just happened to me? Well, let me just channel it into a podcast. Let me be busy. Let me join a couple more boards. And what's interesting is last year on November 1st, I had surgery. And for the first time in my entire life, I just did nothing. I was exhausted. I was exhausted because I just had surgery. I was exhausted because I had just dealt with so much emotional turmoil in my life, with the reaction, my Crohn's, trying to find health care, dealing with changes in life. It was exhausting. And frankly, I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. And I took that time to just heal. And when I say heal, I don't just mean physically from the surgery, which of course was also important, but I also mean mentally and emotionally. For the first time, I just checked out. I sat there on that couch, slept whenever I wanted to. I binge watched all of Real Housewives of New York from season 1 all the way up to present day. I know everything now. And I just did nothing. It was the most healing thing I've ever done. The only thing of real importance I did during that time was I always made my therapy appointments. That's it. Everything else was Real Housewives, snuggle with the dogs, and just allow myself to heal. And I think it was just so beneficial. And I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to just sit back and do nothing. I was scared of nothing for so long. What if I have nothing to do? I have to be busy. Everybody has to be busy. If I'm not busy, I might have to really deal with things that I don't want to deal with. So not being busy really gave me a gift in so many ways. I still have a lot to think about. I still have a lot to learn. I still have a lot of things to work through with my therapist. But you know what? Nothing felt so good. And you know what? I tell you what, there's nothing that will take your mind off of the craziness of your life quite like the Real Housewives in New York. Thank you, New York ladies. So, of everything, I think that's my big takeaway. And I hope that I can explore that more this season. Take a break, do nothing. We don't all have the opportunity to do nothing, maybe. Maybe you still have to go to work. But then come home, do nothing. Don't address it. Don't do the volunteer work. Don't show up and, volunteer for the board. Don't take on extra. Sleep. When you have to have a medical procedure, just rest. And don't apologize. I know I immediately recognized for one of the boards I sit on, when I, would go to the meetings, I did throw in a couple meetings. It was important. But people would say, "Oh, wow, Brandy, you took a lot of time off after your surgery." Yes, I did. Yeah, I absolutely did. And I don't feel bad. The me of 2 years ago would have felt terrible. I would have never taken time off after the surgery. I would have been rolling through everything no matter what. Who cares? I had things to do. But that Brandy, November and December of 2023, just didn't care. And I said, yes, I took time off after my surgery. I needed to heal. It's volunteer work. Nothing's happened. The whole organization didn't fall through. I wasn't thrown off the board, but I did get the opportunity to heal. So I really want to take the time this season to explore that further. How can we all just take that time off? I'm still shocked that I did it, but I still have zero regrets. It was worth it, and I feel better. I do. It's what I needed. So please be sure to tune in for season 2. If you're interested in being on the podcast, sharing your story, please reach out to me. You can reach out to me via email at livingchronic911@gmail.com. And together we can really find how we can live a more beautiful life, even though we are living chronic. Thank you. Looking forward to season 2.